So Felix Sturm stops Darren Barker in 2 rounds and becomes world champion all over again in a little round robin of a situation, because Felix Sturm obviously lost his title to Daniel Gill, and then Darren Barker went and beat Daniel Gill, and now Felix Sturm is going to beat Darren Barker. And this should show conclusively to any donut, any fool out there who still doesn't understand the concept. This should show them why styles make fights. Yeah, just because Daniel Gill was able to beat Felix Sturm, it don't mean he can beat Darren Barker. Just because Darren Barker was able to beat Daniel Gill, it don't mean he can beat Felix Sturm. Yeah, that's the situation that we're dealing with in boxing. It's chess, it ain't checkers. It's rock, paper, scissors, as Dwyer likes to say. So, that's what it was. In terms of the fight itself, I thought Sturm looked good. I thought that Darren Barker, to me, he just looked a bit too lackadaisical. He didn't seem that sharp. He seemed like he didn't seem well adjusted to Sturm's rhythm. Sturm seemed very sharp and quick and alert. And Barker just seemed way too lackadaisical. He hadn't caught up with what Sturm was doing. And he didn't try and warm himself into the contest. He tried to go right forward. And, when you're not in tune to a guy's rhythm, right? Especially when you're not a pressure fighter by design, when you're not in tune to a guy's rhythm, the last thing you want to do is go at him. That's the last thing you want to do. Yeah, when you're feeling a step behind in the fight, you don't want to go after a man. Yeah, especially not when you've got, height and reach and whatnot, and you can keep it at long range. And that's what Darren Barker should have done for the first couple rounds. Kept it long, box behind the jab, play it safe for the first couple rounds, and just feel your way into the contest. But the fact that he just went steaming forward and just started throwing punches, he should have known from the first few exchanges that something wasn't right, because I could tell just looking from the outside in. I could tell that something wasn't right there. He didn't look comfortable. He didn't have a rhythm going, and Sturm did look comfortable. He did have a rhythm going from the opening bell. You get what I'm saying? He just looked far more on it. He looked far more sharp. He looked far more alert. There was more rhythm to the way he was throwing his shots. And Barker should have sensed that and thought, okay, let me just stick a jab on him. Let me just forget about the game plan for a second. Let me just take a look at this kid. All right? Because I need to feel my way into the fight. Yeah? So that's what you should have done. I know hindsight is a wonderful thing, but honestly, that's what I was thinking at the time, even in the first round, is that Barker don't look comfortable, man. There's something not right about the way he's boxing. And anyway, Sturm took him out in the second round, landed some shots. Barker hurt his hip or whatever. It's been a long-term injury. And I don't think it would have mattered whether he hurt his hip or not. I think Sturm was still going to win the fight. Barker just boxed the wrong tactics and made too many mistakes. And Sturm took advantage, and Sturm was very sharp. So credit to Felix Sturm for getting his title back. And Darren Barker's talking about retirement. I think he should retire, to be honest with you. And it's not because of any dislike for Darren Barker. I think he's a likable guy, but he's been talking about retirement so much, for so many years. His heart is not really in boxing, and he's made a fair amount of money now from his last couple fights, especially this fight here with Felix Sturm. He's made a fair amount of money from that. I assume enough money to retire on. So, why not retire? Boxing is not an easy sport. It's a sport where you can get hurt. If he continues, he's going to be fighting Felix Sturm again. Maybe he could take the Felix Sturm rematch for a bit more money and just cash out on that. He can always quit on his stool rather than taking a terrible beating if the fight is not going the right way. It'll be his last fight anyway. So, I would advise him to retire. Either retire right now or take the Sturm fight, for the payday and then retire. Because I don't really think his heart, he don't really have the love for boxing that a lot of other fighters have. So, when your love for the sport is going, that's time. That's when it's really time to get out, because that's when you can get yourself seriously hurt. So, yeah, man. Nice guy and all that, but I think he really should retire. So, congratulations again to Felix Sturm. There's some good fights out there, possibly for Sturm. I know, obviously, Martin Murray and Matthew Macklin are very interested now in getting a shot again at Felix Sturm, because both of those guys felt like they beat Sturm, especially Macklin. So both of those guys will be thinking, wow, you know, let's get a Felix Sturm fight on again. Obviously, both guys also would have liked to have fought Darren Barker as well. That would have been an even bigger fight if Barker had beaten Sturm. Then, you know, a world title fight here in the UK between Barker and Macklin and Murray, either one of those guys against Barker, would be big here in the UK. Big money for any of those fighters. But obviously that's not going to happen now. So they've got an opportunity, at least in their heads, to pick up a world title against Felix Sturm if those matches can be made. Sturm, he could take those fights, or he could go on and fight Golovkin, Quillin, unification maybe, and that's the route I'd prefer him to go. I think it's much more interesting than treading old ground, even though there's definitely a case to be made that he lost to Macklin. I'd like to see some unifications in the middleweight division. That's what we're really lacking. No one's unifying anything, so that's what I'd like to see. But anyway, drop your comments below. Let me know how you felt about it. Again, I apologize for my subdued nature in these videos. I'm still kind of ill. I'm coming back from bronchitis and whatnot, which is why I didn't make no videos over the weekend. But make sure you check out all my videos, which I'll be uploading today. All my other post-fight videos. Make sure you check them all out. Go to my channel page. You'll find them there. And drop your comments below. And I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.